What's up, Bulldogs? All right. I have a really awesome guest today. I have the one and only Andrew Tate from Tate's Speech. I've been following his content for a long time, and I wanted to really have him on the channel because if you guys want to know what it's like to be an alpha male, I think Andrew exemplifies this more than just about anyone I know, because he just does whatever the fuck he wants. He says whatever the fuck he wants, and he gets whatever the fuck he wants. And that, in my definition, is what an alpha male is. So welcome, Andrew.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on here. And I like that description. I think that's pretty close to exactly, that should be absolutely every man's aspiration, shouldn't it? To break free from the slavery and the chains and the societal norms, and to be able to do and act and say whatever they like. So I think it's a pretty good end goal for anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Especially today. I mean, so much pressure, I think, on men to like act in a certain way, and they conform to it. There's so many, I keep on saying it, but I think the greatest problem that we have in society today is the pussification of men, that so many men are just fucking pussies.
Because this is exactly it. Because this is society. I mean, we can go really far down the rabbit hole with this one. I don't want to go full Alex Jones on you. Yeah. But the truth is, if you want to control a society, you need to control the men, because it's men which riot and cause revolutions. It's men which can fight. It's men which can really make serious change. I mean, women can scream and complain, but they can be largely ignored. But when men start to riot, you have problems. So how do you avoid that? Well, you make sure the men don't have enough will or enough gumption to put up to resist the absolute shit show they're being forced to put up with. Because the truth is, life for 99% of men in the Western world is awful. And most of them know it, and most of them feel it. And still they will continue to pay their taxes and go to their job and sit inside of their sexless marriage because they've lost their will to resist. And this is done very specifically. This is done on purpose. It's not an accident. Because otherwise people would stand up and say, wait. What? The price of everything's doubled in the last 10 years. My wages are the same. What's going on? But no one does. So it's a very conscious effort to damage the psyche and the fighting spirit of masculine men. Absolutely.
And what do you think is like the main thing that's being done in order to accomplish this? Is it porn, video games? What's the... Yeah,
this is super interesting because it's such like a complicated web. It's such a complicated web of factors. You can talk about nearly anything and they all tie into each other. But I truly believe we live in a matriarchal society in the West. Now, I no longer live in the West. I live in Romania. If anyone doesn't know who I am, my name's Andrew Tate. I live in Romania, which is the far end of the European Union. It's like a strange place to kind of live, but I really like it here. But when I go back to the West, I realize just how matriarchal the society is. There's a lot of people on Twitter. I'm quite big on Twitter, and there's guys in the red pill space and the right-wing space who always talk about patriarchy and how they're going to establish a patriarchal household and all this stuff. And I try and explain, the laws in Western countries prevent you from ever being a patriarch. If your woman at any point decides to lie and say you hit her, or to say you raped her, or a girl you're sleeping with, he raped me. I had sex with him consensually 9 times, but the 10th time I was drunk and it was rape. Right. And the law, they will come and arrest you. Yeah. How can you be a patriarch in a matriarchal society where females have the entire power of the law to destroy you at will? You can't. So the truth is, the reason most men act the way they do is because they know that if push comes to shove, the entire force of the legal system will always side with the female. So why does the man come home after working a long 10, 11 hours in the coal mine, ask for a cup of coffee, his woman tell him to fuck off, continue to have no sex for 3-4 years, his kids don't respect him, he's semi-depressed, nearly suicidal, but he doesn't get a divorce? Well, we know why. Because what's the option? You're going to lose the house, you're going to lose the kids, you're going to be stuck paying for her bills and allowing her to go on endless dates. You're out the game because it's extremely difficult to find a mate nowadays unless you're a top tier male. So what choice do you have? It's a matriarchal society. Females have all the power in the West. So like any society, if you're the class which is attacked or the class which is ostracized, which men are, you're going to lose your fighting spirit. You're just going to think, well, the best way to survive is just to be nice to everybody. And if I'm just nice, do. And that's what's happened, because there really is, unless you have that spark, unless you have what it takes to truly build a life which is unique and build a life which puts you beyond the controls of these enforcement mechanisms, then the safest way to live is to be a simp. It's not easy to be like me and run my mouth. I've lived the consequences of talking. I know what can happen, and I'm sure you've been there too with the shit on Twitter and blah blah. It's not most people can't put up with this.
Yeah, so, no, it's costing me hundreds of thousands of dollars to run my fucking mouth and not apologize, especially when they want you to get on your fucking knees and say, "Hey, we'll make the pain stop if you fucking apologize." And that's the most deadly trap, because for one, it's false, and two, it's like it's giving up everything that you stand for as a man. And that's the price for sure.
Absolutely, man. Like, and I see these people apologize and stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? Why? Yeah. You know, like my biggest ever outrage is when, this was about 4 years ago, is when I was still verified on Twitter before I got banned. And I said depression wasn't real. And I know that's like a really controversial take. And my point was very simple. My point is that depression is a natural instinct inside of men. And it's something that is designed to show you that you need to change something about your life. If like you go to jail and you're depressed, it's not because you've caught depression. It's because you're in jail. This is why. So if you feel depressed, you need to wake up and go, well, why am I depressed? And how can I change this? I had people message me saying, you don't understand how it feels. I'm fat and I can't get a girlfriend because I'm depressed. I said, no, you're depressed because you're fat and you can't get a girlfriend. Right. You got it the wrong way around. So when I said depression wasn't a clinical disease and it's simply the result of not living a life that you truly enjoy and you're not happy with, it blew up. It went huge. I had Hollywood stars. I had J.K. Rowling and the guy who plays the Incredible Hulk, and everyone was coming for me. And when this was like the most controversial I got, and everyone was trying to cancel me. And at the time, I was doing television commentary for the cage fighting here in Romania. And when I went into work to commentate, the owner of the organization called RXF, which is like the Romanian UFC, he had a stack of emails like this. Shit. Where people had Googled me, found my employment, and emailed him saying I'm a misogynist and I'm fucking encouraging suicide and all these crazy pages and pages. And he sat down there and goes, "What's this?" I was like, "Bro, in the West, this is what they do." And he was laughing out loud. He's Romanian. So he's reading emails going, "These people have no life. What are these people?" I was like, he goes, "What do they want me to do?" I was like, "They're hoping you're going to fire me." Right. And the whole boardroom was laughing, and they threw the emails away, and we carried on with life. Because we're not in a society which is held at ransom. I'm lucky to live in a society which is not held ransom by these people. But in America, if I had a normal job, it would have been it. You know, it's absolutely crazy now. So, and what happens when you take away a man's speech? If a man's not free to talk, what's a man free to do? That's the first way you demasculinize a man. You tell him to shut up.
Exactly.
That's what happens.
Yeah, that's crazy. I have the same exact view on depression. And I've said it multiple times, and I don't understand why people are so damn outraged by it, because it's not that big of a fucking deal, right? It's like, like it's, especially with depression, it's cyclic also. Like our lives are supposed to go up and down. They don't just fucking go up. It's a roller coaster. Life is a roller coaster.
Life is depressing. You know? I say this to people. I'm depressed. I'm like, well, life's depressing. You're getting older. You're going to die. You know, there's a whole bunch of people with a bunch more money than you. Welcome to the fucking real world. Life's depressing. Are you a bitch? You're going to cry about it? Or you're going to do something about it? Like, life is depressing. Who told us? Tell me where it says in the human handbook that we're supposed to be happy all of the time. Right, we're not supposed to be happy. We're supposed to survive. Now, if you're a man, you can survive even if you're miserable. I say this all the time. Give me depression. You wouldn't even notice. This is what pisses them off, because they're like, "Oh yeah, you wouldn't be able to function." I guarantee I can still drive my Lambo and fuck women. I guarantee you. Right. Try me. Because I refuse to be such a baby that I'm going to sit there and go, "Well, I feel a certain way, so I have to act a certain way." No. One of the number one tenets of masculinity, in fact, it's probably the primary tenet of masculinity, is acting different to how you feel. This 100%. Is the primary tenet of masculinity. Do you think the men on the Titanic felt like dying? No, but they acted a certain way because they were men. The women and the children are afraid and they're going to run. I'm afraid and I'm going to stay here because I'm a man. As a man, you have to control your emotions. So I don't give a shit if you're depressed. There's no excuse to not be an adult and make sensible decisions based on discipline alone. I'm too depressed to train. No, you lack discipline. Because I've felt miserable. Every single person has. I didn't miss a gym session ever. So I don't believe in that crap. I don't believe in it. And I don't believe in it because I know that the true cure to fixing people is to tell them, here's the example I gave when this whole thing blew up. I said, if I moved into a house and I heard squeaks in the night and I don't believe in ghosts, I'm going to attribute it to the wind and go back to sleep. If I move into the same house and hear the same squeaks, but I'm a big believer in ghosts, I'm going to start being scared. I'm going to call an exorcist. I'm going to say it's a ghost. So my point is, the same situation gets worse based primarily on my beliefs. If you don't believe in depression, you can't be depressed.
Right.
All you can be is, okay, I feel a bit pissed off. Time to get up and go get it. Let's hit the gym, bang, hit the club. I'm gonna make some things happen in my life. But if you do believe in depression, the second you feel sad, the first thing you do is sit down and go, this isn't my fault I feel this way. I have a disease and nothing's gonna make me better. And you're gonna get worse. So this is the whole point. This is what was amazing when I said depression wasn't real. I said, because I was getting attacked by, all the Avatar Anon characters. I'm depressed. You don't understand. My friend killed himself, blah, blah, blah. I was like, listen, if depression is really so horrible, why are you all defending it so fervently? So it's real. It's real. It's so powerful. It's real. Why are you defending this horrible thing? Why don't you sit there and go, you know what? You're right, Andrew. Fuck depression. But they want to defend it because it's an identity. It's something that allows them to feign individuality. It's something that allows them to, it's an excuse. It's a ready-made excuse for all of life's failures. I'm a loser, but it's not my fault. But depression. That's all it is. It's a fucking coping mechanism. I don't believe it. I do not believe in depression. I believe if you really feel terrible and someone were to come along and give you $10 million, you'd probably feel a bit better. Also, just to quickly touch on this, because every time I say this, people come at me and think they're smart. And they say, well, what about Robin Williams? He was famous. He killed himself, blah, blah, blah. And I say, yeah. And I'll tell you why he killed himself. He killed himself because of people like you who are telling him depression is real, not people like me.
Right.
When Robin Williams was in therapy for 10 years. If he would have walked into his first therapy session and his therapist said, look, Robin, you're a millionaire. You're famous. You can fuck any woman alive. You coming here is insulting to people with PTSD and genuine conditions, which I believe is different. If you've been through some real shit in a war, fine, you could be depressed. If you're just Joe Schmo and nothing's happened to you, you have no reason to be depressed. I'd say, look, Robin, you've got a fantastic life. You coming here is insulting to people with real issues. Grow up and get the fuck out my office. I guarantee he'd still be alive. But instead, they start giving him mind-altering drugs, antidepressants. They fuck with his brain chemistry. They tell him to sit down and for 10 years, every day, go through every bad thing that's ever happened to you so you cry your eyes out. After 10 years of that, I'd jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
Of course, he thought, I can't handle another one of this therapy bullshit. And the whole time, they're telling him, you're never going to get better. You're never going to get better. Depression's got you now. There's nothing you can do. It's in your brain. Like, come on, man. This whole idea of depression being the scariest thing in the world is what's making people kill themselves. You're giving these people no hope. 100%. I'll give you hope. It's bullshit. There's your hope. It's bullshit, and you're being a bitch. Get up and be a man. There's your hope. Crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% on this. Listen up, guys, because this is important. In fact, every single one of when I do a coaching call with one of my new coaching clients, they always have some problem, right? And the very first thing I tell them is there's nothing fucking wrong with you. There's nothing. Yep. Whatever it is, I'm scared to talk to girls. I have social anxiety. I'm super nervous, whatever it is. Oh, I'm super depressed. Oh, whatever the problem is. Oh, I have ADHD. Nope, there's nothing fucking wrong with you. Agreed. You're perfectly normal. That's exactly, because everyone has to deal with their shit. And it's just a question of whether you've dealt with your shit or not. And most guys have not dealt with their shit. And once you deal with your shit, I mean, we all have different shit to deal with, but there's not, it's the natural state of humans to be fucked up. Like, we're all fucked up.
Of course. And life ain't fucking easy. The problem is we've given names to everything. And when you give everything a name, people buy into it faster.
Yep.
So, like, I remember a very quick story. I was fighting when I was still fighting pro. My number one gym mate, he was like another guy. He was fighting UFC. I was fighting kickboxing. And he was, at the same time as training, he was training for me for about 5 years. And when you're training pro, you always pick up injuries. Things hurt all the time, sparring, training, whatever. Fights, you don't have time to heal before your next fight. Things hurt. Anyway, he was training to become an osteopath at the same time. Once he became an osteopath, he was constantly out with injury. And I was like, why are you always out with injury? He's like, oh, I've damaged my rotator cuff, or I've damaged my second ligament in my knee. I was like, bro, before you knew the names of all this little iggling pains, you used to just train and you used to ignore it like I do. Now you know exactly what it is, and you've given it a name and you've looked it up. Now you're being a bitch about it. Can't you just go back to thinking my knee hurts a bit, I'll kick with the other leg? Because that's what I do, and that's what you used to do. And it's exactly the same with these mental illnesses. I feel this way. Oh, that's because you have this. Then they go on Google and look it up. Shut up. The world doesn't care how you feel anyway. So like the world doesn't give a shit. You're either a winner or a loser. You're either gonna push to succeed or you're not. We live in a world based on action. It's binary. It's yes or no. You're either gonna do it or you're not gonna do it. Like people, when I tell people this, they're like, you don't understand. It's like, I do understand. I just don't care.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's a difference. I understand you feel sad, but me and everyone else alive doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
so you're either going to push forward or you're not.
And I think that's one of the most important lessons in life is that nobody gives a fuck, right? It's like, and I tell guys all this all the time. It's like, nobody gives a fuck. It doesn't matter. Like people will pretend to give a fuck, but no one actually gives a fuck about you, right? They care about themselves. They got too much fucking problems to deal with on their own. And so like, if you think someone's going to come to save you or someone's going to come and help you in some way, you're full of shit. You're on your own. You're dropped off in this fucking world with just you, and you got to rely on yourself. And if you think that someone else is going to come and help you or save you or make things feel better for you, you're full of shit. It's bullshit. The quicker you learn that fucking lesson that you're on your own, the better off you're going to be as a man, because then you start solving your fucking problems instead of thinking that someday they'll go away or someone else will come and alleviate the pain from you. And that's like so much of the pussification of men is based on that. Is they don't know that it's time to fucking stand up because they don't realize they're alone.
So exactly. And this is the thing, like nobody's going to wake up and look at Bulldog Mindset and go, you know what, that John guy, he's a good guy. I'm going to dedicate my day to getting John a Ferrari.
Right.
Like it's not going to happen. If you want a Ferrari, you got to make a Ferrari. If I want a Ferrari, I got to get a Ferrari. Anyone who wants a Ferrari has to go get it. This is a simple truth of earth, especially being a man. And this is kind of one of those things I've noticed. There's a really weird phenomenon happening, but I've noticed lots of men starting to kind of complain and bitch about how easy females have it, or women get it easy.
Oh, yeah.
Women do have it easy. But what, you're jealous of chicks now?
Right.
Like I would like, that's how big of a bitch you are. You're jealous of a chick. Like, I think being a female would be a disaster. Yeah. Okay. If you're a beautiful female, thank you. If you're a beautiful female, you get some advantages in life. Of course you do, because beauty is a currency. But the idea of actually living life as a female, there's no conquest. There's nothing. I mean, what do you really do? You get a guy, you love your guy. Maybe you get some nice meals, you buy a handbag, you get pregnant at the end. There's no conquest. There's no domination. So being a female would suck, but you're sitting here jealous because a female gets to ride in a nice car and you can't buy one. You're a fucking punk. You're a punk, man. Yeah. And this is the truth about it.
Puts a span. Like, I think a lot of guys don't understand. They get upset when I talk about this, but it's like, imagine what your life would be like if like your whole identity was based on your looks, which is going to be finite you only have this for like maybe 5 to 10 years max. Every day you got to wake up, you got to put on fucking makeup. Otherwise you look like shit, because there's already a standard of what you look like. And if you're below that, you're going to feel like shit. Your whole identity is wrapped up in that shit. I mean, I don't want that. Fuck. I like to be able to just be me and be a stud based on who I fucking am instead of what I look like or
exactly. As a man, you get to build your character, and that's what's so good. That's what's so good about being a man. As a woman, you're born either with value or without value. A bit of makeup can change it or not, and that's basically it. Surgery, whatever. But as a man, you can build your character from the ground up. You can decide: do I want to be a hard ass UFC fighter? Or do I want to be a rock star? Just like a video game, you can build your character. Who do I want to be? And you can build it from the ground up. And this is what's so amazing, is that every single man is born with this ability, but most of them are too fucking lazy to do it.
Exactly.
They sit there and go, you know what, Tate, man, you're fighting and you're driving a Lambo and blah, blah, blah. I was like, why didn't you fight? Oh, I never had the time. Shut up. You could have fought. You could have been better than me. Obviously, I'm being nice when I say this. Of course, they didn't stand a chance in hell, but I'll say it anyway. You might have beaten me. Right. Never, but still. You might have beaten me, but you didn't even train. You didn't even try.
Exactly.
Like, you're going to sit there on your video game and level up your character, but you won't level up your real life self. And this is the truth. And people sit there and go, yeah, but it's hard. You wouldn't want it if it wasn't hard. Because if it wasn't hard, everyone would have it and it would have no value. If everybody had a six-pack, you wouldn't want a fucking six-pack. This is the beauty of it. People don't understand that the fact it's hard is what makes it beautiful. That's what makes it good. That's what makes you want it at all. Why is a nice body so coveted? Because people know how hard it is to have a nice body. If we all could just shred like this, it wouldn't mean anything. Value and scarcity are linked. They're together. So you can't sit and complain about the value of things and then complain it's hard. And
It's also,
this is the truth about men. There's a whole generation of men who have been raised without being prepared for war. Yep. Because that's what life is. It's a war for resource. It's a war for females. It's a war for attention. It's a war for domination. It's war. And as a man, you have to establish yourself in a hierarchy of men. There is a global hierarchy of men. And there are men out there right now who are born with every genetic advantage, and they're 7'2" NBA players made of muscle. And that's life. And there's men out there who are 5'5" and they're not. But that doesn't make a difference. You still have to find a way to fight and compete. You have to do your best with what you've got. That's it. That's the game. Or you sit there, jerk off, and cry.
Yeah. And see what most guys don't realize too is that it's not just like, I mean, it's a scarcity, but it's also that you've earned it, right? It's like, you know, one of the things I like to talk about is that I don't want anything I haven't earned, because I tell guys all the time, I'm like, hey, you could take one of my marathon medals off of the wall there and I'll give it to you, and we'll go in and we'll change the time, we'll change the name so it says your name. It's like, how would you feel about that? Would you like that? And they're like, no, why? And I'm like, well, why wouldn't you want that, right? Don't you just want to like have the thing? Like, it's the same thing as if I give you $1 million, so George, just give you $1 million, right? And it's like, oh no, that's different. No, it's the same fucking thing, because the reason why you don't want a marathon medal, like just to have the medal, is because you haven't fucking earned it, because it's meaningless if you have that medal. It's the same thing. You know, guys think that, you know, getting women, getting money, all this shit is going to make them feel better, but not if you haven't earned it. If you haven't earned it, you might enjoy it for a short period of time, but like all of those things, like you said, getting the body, it's all about, because you've put in the fucking work and earned that shit. That's what makes it actually enjoyable.
Absolutely. And these men are, like I said, these men are being raised and they're not prepared for war. They're not prepared. They're not battle ready. And this is what's happened to a whole generation of men. They're literally simply not battle ready. They think life is supposed to be easy. They think their end goal is that they're supposed to be happy. And they don't realize that life is a fight. That's what it is. It's one big battle as a man. And that's how you have to prepare yourself. You can't be sitting there going, why am I not happy? I say this all the time. People say to me, oh, but Tate, when I was talking about the depression thing, they said, oh, but you're happy. I said, I would never describe myself as happy. I'm not unhappy. I'm not happy. The idea of happy, it's not a spectrum that enters my mind. I'm a disciplined individual who does what he knows is right to live the life he wants to live. Happy and sad is completely separate to how my life is organized. Like, I don't see this idea of people constantly being told you need to be happy all the time, no matter what. As soon as you feel a little bit sad, pop this pill. Like, it's insane. It's insane. And America's the worst for this. Everyone over there is taking something. It's crazy. Yeah. And you wonder why everyone's shooting each other. It's like the whole everyone's lost their minds.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. Clown world.
It's about, you know, fulfillment rather than happiness is how I look at it. It's like, if you're on your purpose, if you're doing what your mission is in life as a man, if you have some fucking purpose, then you're going to feel fulfilled. In a lot of days, you're going to feel miserable. When I'm training for fucking ultra marathons, pretty much every day is misery. It's not, but it's but I wouldn't give it up. It's the greatest fucking misery that you could possibly have, because you know you're going towards something that most people will never, ever fucking accomplish in their life. And that gives you the drive to go forward. You would never want to kill yourself because you're depressed in that case, even though you can be miserable and not depressed, right? I mean, it's like that's what it comes down to.
Completely agree with you, friend. Completely agree with you. And this whole, sorry, just one last point on it, but I said something else that got me banned on one of my other Twitter accounts, and it was that suicide is for cowards. And the point I was making is that a lot of these people who kill themselves, you have children. Mm-hmm. I don't care how sad you are. I don't care how sad you are. You have kids. Yeah. And let's forget the kids thing for a second. When you come along and say to me, "Oh, Tate, I'm depressed. I don't want to live anymore," or whatever. Do you have any idea how disrespectful that is to your parents? Mm-hmm. Think of the shit your parents went through to get your ass alive, to feed you, the doctor's appointments, taking your ass to school, waking up, feeding you, the money they had to make, all that shit they went through. So 20 years later, you can say you're sad and jump off a fucking bridge? Do you have any respect for your elders and your ancestors? These are people born without basic respect. They should have too much respect for their last name and their parents to walk around like a moping sack of shit. You have too much respect for the people who worked hard to bring you to life to be acting that way. Childish. These are childish individuals. When I see some next fucking idiot jumped off a bridge, killed himself, whatever, I don't sit there and go, oh, it must have been so hard for him. Oh, Mr. Millionaire rock star killed himself. Must be so hard for him. I just think he's a coward. I think he's a coward. He's a pussy. That's it.
Yep. I couldn't agree with you more. Not a popular opinion, but fuck, it's true. It's true. What are you going to do? Let's hit some of these super chats here. See what some people have to say here. So Ramsey says, having trouble going about my day when I'm hustling. I take 5 minutes off and I go down a shit spiral. How do you go about your day when focused?
You want to answer first or me?
Go for it.
This is another thing where it comes back to motivation and discipline. I want to really stress the difference between those two things. I was a 4-time kickboxing world champion. For 12 years, I trained 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I was motivated to train probably about 25% of the time. Mm-hmm. The rest of the time I went because I am disciplined. Just like you're talking about your ultra marathon. You don't feel like going through that shit on a Wednesday morning when you wake up, but you have to do it because you're disciplined. You're either a disciplined individual or you are not a disciplined individual. To sit there and say, and I'm going to tell you the truth, Ramsey, a shit spiral, what does that mean? You go on Pornhub or you start clicking on cat videos on YouTube. Like if you really wanted money, you would not do that. So you don't really want it. There's a difference between want and want. And I say this all the time. People say to me, I want to be rich. And I say, okay, well, I want to be able to ice skate, but I don't want to be able to ice skate enough to go learn how to ice skate because I can't be bothered. I mean, surely if I could click my fingers and be a figure skater, I'd click my fingers. Who wouldn't? But I don't want to actually go train because I don't want it enough. And this is the exact point with money. Everyone wants money put on their lap. If you truly wanted money, you wouldn't be able to sleep until you fucking had it.
Yeah.
And this is the point. So you're saying you go down a shit spiral, then you're not cut out to be rich, my friend. Get a job in Starbucks and piss off. Some people, because when I had nothing, I couldn't be distracted. You couldn't distract me from what I wanted. That's who I am. If I want something, I'm going to get it. So I don't know what more you want me to say. I do not need to be motivated. I'm a disciplined person. If I allocate X amount of time to work, I'm going to do it. Now, I do have, not to do a plug or anything, but on cobratate.com on my website, I do have like a mental focus resilience training program. So if you do want to go through a program, which I put together, which is going to teach you how to be disciplined, then you can go there and buy it. But that is the bottom line answer. It's discipline. You're going to have to work when you don't feel like working. That's how it's going to have to be, or you're never going to be anything.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I tell you guys on this channel all the time that the greatest skill that you can acquire in life is to learn how to work without motivation. And that's what it comes down to. Like for me, everything in my life is life or death. There's not a single thing that's not life or death. Every single fucking thing, because that's the only way to maintain full control of your life. If you treat some things as optional, and if you can't execute what's up in your head, your will upon your world. In fact, that's what my definition of freedom. My definition of freedom is your ability to execute your will upon the world. And if you can't do it through your own body, you're fucked. You're in the backseat of a car that someone else is driving. That's your life. I want to be in the driver's seat. So the only way I can do that is to make everything life or death. Every single fucking thing, every single gym session, every workout, every single thing that I need to get done, it has to get done. There's no fucking choice. So
you said it perfect, man. You said it perfect about the mindset. Because one of the only things, Ramsey, listen to me. One of the only things in this world you can control is your state of mind. You can't control the weather. You can't control other people. You can't even control your health. You might get a brain hemorrhage, or you might get hit by a bus, or you might get assassinated. One of the very few things in the world you have genuine control over is your state of mind. You decide if you're a disciplined person. You decide if you're a happy person. You decide if you're a depressed person. These are things that in real time you can affect in your brain. This is all you can control on earth. If you can't control that, then you're just a feather in the wind. And life's going to blow you around, and you might land somewhere good. You might land in dog shit. Nobody knows. So if you're going to be that kind of person, then you're at, like you said it perfectly. You have no will, then you're just at the whims of the earth. Who knows? You're going to watch something on TV, and they're going to tell you something, and you're going to believe it, and you're going to march and hold the sign and blah, blah. You're going to be an idiot. Yeah. Your state of mind is what you should be able to control. If you can't wake up and say, today I'm making some money, and actually try your very, very best, and actually stay dedicated to that task. If you can't do that, you're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to think of it as like being a pinball in a pinball machine, just getting fucking bounce around, right? Like you got to choose. Like if you're gonna be a pinball in the pinball machine, maybe you'll score, maybe you won't. I don't know. Like it's not up to you once you let go of that control. So never let go of that control.
Does society want what's good for you? This is the thing. If you don't control yourself, society controls you.
Yep.
So you have to ask yourself: does what society want for me? Is it what I want for me? Is what society is trying to teach me? Is that going to be good for me? And the answer in 99% of cases is no. What society wants for you is a miserable tax slave existence. They want you to sit, be a slave, pay all your taxes, wait for Corona to come along and destroy any side hustle you managed to build up over the last 20 years for no reason. And they want you to just vote and be quiet and not break the law and have a sexless marriage and stay home. The society doesn't want anything good for you. Society does not want you to have any adventure. Society doesn't want you to be masculine in any way. Society does not want you to raise your voice. It wants you to be quiet. Fill in the tax return. It's all it wants. So if you're not going to control your life, society is going to control your life. No one else is going to control your life.
Yeah.
So you have to have that burning desire. And a lot of this stems from ego. I have long conversations about people talking to me saying I have an ego. And I say, the most successful people I've ever met have huge egos.
Yep.
Like there's nothing wrong with thinking, you know what, if this is the only body I'm going to inhibit, if this is my only chance at consciousness, I may as well love who I am and what I have.
Yeah.
What's the point in hating myself? This is it. You know, I have guys come to me and they say, how do I get girls when I'm short? I was like, the same way you get them when you're tall. The fuck you want to do? What you want to do? You can't do it. This is your avatar. This is what you got to love yourself and be proud of yourself. I'm not saying be a dickhead. I'm not saying be a bad person. But you need to have a healthy ego. You have to have enough masculine energy to think, no, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to do this. I'm not settling for this. I deserve more, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This stems from ego. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah. People always say I have delusions of grandeur. And I'm like, yes, of course I have delusions of grandeur. And I want all of you to have delusions of grandeur because the opposite is so fucking destructive. If you think less of yourself, then the bar is so low, you could just hop over that shit. Like you're not going to ever grow. But if I have delusions of grandeur, if I think I'm greater than I am, then then I have to live up to that shit every day. Sometimes, some days I'm like, oh shit, my mouth, I spoke all this shit and now I got to live up to that shit. And then I fucking do, you know what I mean? It's like, that's what makes you grow and be stronger. So yeah, I like ego is important. You got to have delusions of grandeur in life. Otherwise you're going to be less, right? It makes you got to do the walk to back up your talk. And so you got to talk big so that you walk big. It forces you down that path. 100%,
man. An ego that you're constantly working hard to justify is a superpower. It's a superpower. Like this was the whole basis of nearly all my achievements. I deserve a Lambo. Why, Andrew? You're from a single mother. You're growing up in social housing and you're broke and you don't have a car. Why do you deserve a Lambo? Because I'm me and I deserve a fucking Lambo. Here I am. I have two. So this is because I truly believed I deserved it. And I was like, I'm going to find a way to get one.
Yep.
You know, I have loads of stories I've told before, but I remember I was walking to college with like 3 of my friends and a Ferrari drove past us. It was like 8 a.m. And I said to my friends, doesn't that piss you off? And my friends go, what do you mean? I was like, we're going to college and we're going to learn from some professor who's making a little bit of money. And, you know, I'm broke. I ain't got anything. I know I'm only 18, but I'm broke. This dude has 400 grand for a car. Doesn't it make you realize there's something in the matrix we're missing? Doesn't that anger you? Like, don't you feel like a second-class citizen? And they're all like, well, it's only a car. So you can't see beyond. You don't see any of what's truly happening. This guy driving past us is a huge fuck you to everybody who can't buy one.
Exactly.
You know, like, don't you want that? Oh, well, you know, it's just a car. Oop-a-doop-a-doo. And these are the sheep people. These are the slave people. Put on your mask. It's just a car. But if you have enough ego, you can be like me and go, no, I will be that guy in that car. Because that's what I believe I deserve. And I'm not saying it's easy. Making money is difficult. It's not easy. But you have to, if it's all you think about, if it's all you try to do, you're going to make more than if you don't think about it and you don't try. You're going to make some more than if you did nothing. You know, so it's just one of those, it's priorities and it's believing in yourself and it's believing you deserve these things. A lot of people don't believe they deserve shit.
100%.
And that's why they haven't got shit.